Okay. SQL Server. SQL Server is a relational database management management system, RDBMS. Okay, relational database management system product from Microsoft. Okay, and but it also supports some object relational features that we discussed yesterday. Also object relational features. Okay, ORDBMS. It's a partial ORDBMS. Okay. Now, actually, SQL Server supports two major workloads. Okay, two major workloads. What are they? The first one is OLTP. That means online transaction processing. Online transaction processing. Okay, that we will discuss later. Next one is OLAP. Online analytical processing. Online analytical processing. Okay, it supports two major workloads. One is OLTP, another one is OLAP. Okay. Now, and also see the uses of SQL Server. SQL Server. The first one is what we can do with SQL Server is database development. Okay, and next one is database administration. What we can do under this database development? We can do creating tables, views, indexes, stored procedures, triggers. Okay, we can create tables, views, indexes, stored procedures, triggers. Okay, and we can write queries, writing queries. Okay, both SQL and TSQL also, transact SQL. Okay, TSQL. And the next one is we can implement business logic. We can implement business logic. Okay. Next, database administration. Under database administration, we can do backup and restore, and we can provide security. That means logins, okay, roles. We can create permissions. Okay, and also performance tuning. Okay, next, high availability and disaster recovery. Okay, and also monitoring and maintenance. Monitoring and maintenance. Okay, monitoring and maintenance. Okay. So these are the two things we have: database development and database administration we can do. Okay, and now see, versions of SQL server. SQL server. Let me copy this. Versions of SQL server. Okay. See the versions here. Actually, SQL server was introduced in 1991. The first version was 1.1. 1.1 was the first version, and after that 4.2 was released in 1993, and 6.0 was released in 1995, and 6.5, 6.0, 1995, 6.5, 96, 7.0, 98, 1998. Okay, it was released. Okay, see the version numbers here: 1.1, 4.2, 6.0, 6.5, 7.0, like that. But from 2000 onwards, what Microsoft did is, in whichever year it is releasing the SQL server, okay, the year they started using it as a version number. Okay, it was released in 2000, so it became SQL Server 2000 version. It was released in 2005, so it became 2005 version, next version, and 2008 version, 12, 14, 16, 17, 19, 22, 2022 SQL Server version was released. Okay, these are the versions of SQL Server. Okay, now we mentioned here OLTP and OLAP. Okay, let's discuss about that. Okay. What are OLTP and OLAP? OLTP and OLAP. Okay. Here, OLTP and OLAP are the types of data processing systems. They are types of data processing systems. Okay, each designed for different purposes. Okay, purposes. Now see, online transaction processing and online analytical processing. Okay, let me explain these two. Let's take an example here. Amazon. Example. Okay, Amazon. Example. Amazon. Okay. Here, this OLTP in the sense, it is for running the business. That means to store day-to-day transactions. to store day-to-day transactions. Okay, day-to-day transactions. Okay, and whereas OLAP means OLAP is for growing the business, is growing the business. Okay, business. That means analysis. Okay. Now see, suppose in Amazon, we are buying a mobile. On Amazon. Okay. Now what happens? Let's see step by step. Okay. Steps. Okay. Steps. We are buying a mobile. Okay. We are buying a mobile. Now see the steps here. First step is we search for the phone. Okay, we search for the phone, right? And we add it to the cart. And the third one is we enter delivery address. Okay. And fourth one is we make the payment. And fifth one is we place the order. We click on the place order button. Okay, right? Click place order button. We click on place order button. Okay. Now what happens internally? What happens in the background? What happens is first your order. Okay, that means order is saved. And stock is reduced. And the third one is address. We entered address, right? So address is linked. And payment, we made the payment. That means payment is recorded. And also we need a confirmation here, right? So confirmation through email or SMS, okay, is sent. This is the process what happens when we try to buy a mobile. Okay, so we do like this. We search for the mobile, we add it to the cart, we enter the delivery address, make the payment. Okay, we place the order. But internally what happens? Order is saved. Okay, stock is reduced. In each table it is doing these transactions. See, address is linked, payment is recorded, confirmation email, SMS is sent. Okay, so in real time it handles millions of transactions per second. We are just trying to buy a mobile. Many transactions happen, right? In real time what happens? Millions of transactions per second it happened, right? So it records or it saves day-to-day transactions. What does it mean? OLTP, online transaction processing. It stores all the records. Okay, online transaction processing, all the transactions. Okay, and it can handle the millions of transactions per second, right? And here it focuses mainly on accuracy and also speed and also concurrency in the sense parallelly we can that means simultaneously we can buy. The people across the world they can buy, right? So that means concurrency, simultaneously they can access it, right? So it focuses on accuracy, speed, concurrency. Okay, it is also a database, OLTP. It stores a lot of information here. Okay, and the second one is online analytical processing. online analytical processing. Okay, it is for growing the business. Growing the business. The first one is, what is the first one? What is the first one? It is for storing information. Lot of transactions will be there. It is for day-to-day transactions. Day-to-day transactions. The second one is growing the business. Okay, let us see OLAP. OLAP. It is for growing the business. Business. That means analysis. Analysis. Okay. Now, who does this analysis part? Usually, if you see the management, Amazon's management, managers, analysts. So these managers or analysts, they look at the data at the end of the week or at the end of the month. Okay, or quarterly report they see, or annual reports they see, and they raise the questions, or they ask the questions like this, which brand sold the most most mobile last month. Okay, last month. And also how many customers in Hyderabad bought groceries. Okay, they analyze like this. Okay, groceries. and also what is the return rate of laptops. Okay, they analyze all these things. Okay, which regions are growing fastest. Okay, fastest. Okay, so managers and analysts who are in the top category, they analyze like this. Okay, and to analyze the data, they use OLAP, online analytical processing system. Okay, it stores historical data. From where it gets that data? OLAP gets the data from OLTP. From OLTP, it gets the data. Okay, it gets the data. It maintains historical data. That is the advantage of OLAP. Okay, so daily it takes the information from OLTP and it focuses on trends, patterns, insights. Okay, these business analysts, they analyze the data. Okay, since it is maintaining historical data, it is a little bit slower than OLTP. Okay, here OLTP, they concentrate on concurrency and accuracy and speed. Here, since it is maintaining historical data, when comparing with the OLTP, OLAP is slower. Okay, and these people, the analysts and management, they concentrate on trends, patterns. Okay, and they analyze the data. On that basis, they try to grow the business. This is called OLAP. Online analytical processing. Okay, so that's why companies are spending a lot of money on what? Data analysis. So that is where exactly the data science technologies came into the market. Okay, so actually in the data science, okay, just I will give a brief introduction. In data science, actually they use SQL for data access, and they use Python, okay, for coding and analysis, and they use Excel, Power BI, Tableau for visualization, reporting generations and all, and machine learning for predictions, and big data for handling large data sets. Okay, extremely large and complex data they maintain, right? So big data they use. So these technologies will be used in data science. Suppose if you learn .NET, PHP or Java or Python, they are the part of web development. Next is database development. Next one is database development. Here we have web development and database development also. And the next one is data science. Data science, it comes under data analytics. Okay. So if you want to part of web development, so you need to learn the technologies like .NET, which is also from Microsoft. Okay. And SQL Server as a database. It's a database management system. And Java, Oracle or SQL Server, or PHP, Python, Django, okay, MySQL, like that you learn. Okay. But if you want to build a career in data analytics platform, then you need to learn SQL Server, okay, database technologies first. After that, you have to learn Python. After that, you learn machine learning and artificial intelligence. Okay. So in data analytics, what happens first you will become a data analyst. Okay. After gaining some experience, you will become data engineer. After that, after gaining some experience, you will become data scientist. Okay. So it depends upon your interest, how you want to grow in IT. Okay. Whether you go on web development or database development or DBA or data analytics. Okay. Now we already seen development and administration. These two things I covered here. Okay. What we do exactly here. Here, database development, in the sense developer does this work. Developer does this work, creating tables, views, indexes, stored procedures, okay, triggers, and he also writes queries like select, insert, update, delete. Okay, select. Let me write here. Select, insert, update, okay, delete commands. Okay, he writes the queries. Database developer does this work. Okay, and also constraints, he uses constraints. Okay, and also develops stored procedures, and he implements business logic. Okay, many things are there here. I mentioned only few. So database developer does this work, and database administrator, what he does is backup. He takes backup, restore the database, and he takes care of takes security and all, and also he creates roles, logics, and permissions he gives. Okay, and performance tuning also he does. Okay, so these are the roles and responsibilities of DBA, database administrator does this work. Database administrator, DBA does this work. And this is database developer does this work. Okay. Now let us see. The next one is client server architecture. Client server architecture. Client server architecture. Okay. In simple words, what is a client? What is a client? Client in the sense it sends a request. Okay. Example, ask for data. Okay, or insert command, we are writing insert data. Okay, and the server means it processes the request. And sends back the result or response. Both are same. Okay, response. Here in SQL Server terminology, in SQL server, okay, client in the sense an application or user tool like SQL server management studio, we call it as SSMS. Okay, one second. Web application, okay, or even mobile application, etc. All these are clients. These are clients. Okay, and if you see server, SQL server database engine. Okay, SQL server database engine is the server here. Okay. Where do we have this SQL server database engine? The place where actual data is stored and processed is the server. And the client in the sense, see here, this is SQL server management studio. This is client application. Okay, mobile application, web application, many tools are there, different types of applications that we can use as to interact with the database. So client, this is called client, whereas server in the sense where exactly we install and maintain the actual data, that is called a server. It contains SQL server database engine internally, that is a server. Okay, let me show you here. See here, client server architecture. Here, this is the operating system here, Okay, this is operating system. On this operating system, we have installed SQL server. Okay, I will explain this later. We have installed SQL server, and this is SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. Left side, this is the one. This is a client application, SQL Server Management Studio. This is the one. Okay, here we already opened here SQL Server. This is SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, and this request here, it sends a request to the server. This is the request. It sends request to the server. This is the server, and it processes the request. And it returns the response to the user or application, client application. Okay, this is the client server architecture. Okay, let me explain first the components of SQL server. Later we can discuss a little bit more here. Okay. Let us see components of or components in SQL server client server architecture. Okay, client server components in SQL server. Okay. The first one is client. Client. It sends SQL queries. Using GUI, graphical user interface, SSMS, or through other applications. Okay, client. The next component is network protocol. The next one is network protocol. Here, this network protocol is used to connect with the server, That means it enables communication using TCP IP. Okay, we see all these things later. Okay, named pipes, we call them as named pipes, etc. Okay, so to connect with the server, we use network protocol. It enables communication between the client and server. Okay, network protocol we use. And the next one is SQL server engine. The next component is SQL server engine. Just see. Actually, here we said that client, it is SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. This is the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. So here we can create databases. We can create tables in that. We can do. We can write the queries to retrieve the data, to insert the data. We can do many things. This is SSMS, the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay. Now, network protocol. By using network protocol, we are connecting with the server. Server in the sense SQL Server engine. So when we send a request to the server, what happens? Here, SQL Server engine, it receives query. Suppose we write a query in SSMS. We write a query in client application SSMS, and when it is executed in SQL Server engine, this is the server, right? It receives query and it parses the query. After that, it executes the query. After that, it returns final output or final result. Okay, result. It returns result. Okay, SQL Server, what exactly it does? It receives query, it parses in the sense it is checking syntactical errors, it checks. Okay, parsing, we call it as parsing. After that, once it is done, executes the query. Once it is done, it returns the result. The next one is database. Another component is database. Okay, it stores data in tables. That means rows and columns. Database. Okay, so finally, where do we perform this operation? We connect to the server using client application, SQL Server Management Studio. We write a query. How do we connect? Using network protocol, we connect. So we write a query, and whenever we write a query, the SQL Server engine, this is the server engine, it receives the query, it parses the query, it executes the query and returns the result. Okay, where it operates on the database. Finally, it works on database, right? So database is the another component here. Okay. Next, we also have certain services here. Services. What type of services we have? One second. Services. SQL agent. This is for automation. We also have reporting services. SSRS, we call it as reporting services. SQL Server reporting services. And we also have analysis services. Analysis services. Okay, we use it in analytics, database analytics we use. Okay, so these are the components in SQL Server. Okay, we have now see here. This is the server machine. The entire thing is the server machine. That means where exactly we install SQL Server, that becomes a server machine, server. This is the operating system. Okay, this is the operating system. And that we installed SQL server. Okay, the database server. See, database server. Okay, so inside this SQL server, it manages database. See the database, and also it maintains instance. Okay, it maintains database and instance it maintains. Okay, so database is created on hard disk. See the hard disk here. On hard disk, it creates the database. Okay, and it's a permanent storage. It's a permanent storage. Whereas instance is created in RAM. Okay, instance will be created in RAM, and it acts as a temporary storage. Completely, this is a server machine. This is a server machine. Now see the client machine. Client machine here. Client machine. This is SQL Server Management Studio. SQL Server Management Studio. This is a client application. It's a client application, or we call it as a client. It is also a system. Okay, from where we are using, that becomes a client system. From where we are using, that becomes a client system. Here in our system, I installed SQL Server. That means SQL Server Database Engine, and also SQL Server Management Studio client application. Both the applications are here only. Server and client, both are in this machine. Okay, so here using this SQL Server Management Studio, we can connect to the server. Okay, and we can send the request. We can submit the request. See the request. We can submit the request, and server processes here. Server process, okay, that request, and it sends back the response or result. Okay, it sends back the result or response. That is the client server architecture. Okay, so server machine in the sense where exactly we install the SQL server, and client system in the sense where we install client application, that is SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, now let us see. Example, client tools. If you see, here example is SSMS SQL Server Management Studio. We use SSMS. Okay, this we use. Now user or developer. Okay, user, he connects using SSMS to SQL server. Okay, and he works on database. He operates on database. See, user, he uses SSMS. Okay, SSMS client application, and he connects to SQL server, and he works on database. Yeah, Beer Singh. Yeah, please, you can ask.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have one question.
Hmm.
I didn't understand like one thing. Like whenever we are like running any application, and whenever we are calling UPI, like in the local view, it's going to
No.
insert the
Your voice is not clear.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Okay. So whenever we are like running any application in the locally and calling any API, the data is going to insert into the database. But on the cloud, where it's going to insert basically the data on the cloud, like
Okay, you're apart from this subject you are asking. Okay, see, in cloud also we can have SQL server. database
Okay.
management system. In the cloud also, earlier companies, they used to maintain everything in the company's premises, right? Later, they moved these database management systems in cloud also. Okay, so they can
Okay.
store in cloud.
So there
So
also SQL Server is basically installed, right, on the cloud?
exactly. Infrastructure. See, in companies, 100 systems are there. Physically, they appear here, right, in the companies. But in cloud, that server is somewhere. We are connecting to that server, and that virtual systems we are using. Internally, we can create hundreds of systems also there in cloud. If you take Azure, did you work on Azure or anything?
Yes. I have been
There
working on
we
the
call it
Azure
as
DevOps.
instance. Okay, then we can
Okay.
create systems. So if we need, we can create there. Okay, everything will be done in the cloud itself. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Next. So here user, he connects to SQL server using SSMS and he works on database. And if you see user, if you take Oracle, he uses SQL plus, and he works on Oracle. He works on Oracle. Okay, Oracle, and finally he operates on database. And user or developer, he uses MySQL workbench. Okay, this is MySQL workbench. Okay, and he connects to MySQL server and he operates on database. He works on database. Okay, see, this is the way how we use or how we work. Okay, now see the advantages of client server. Okay, client server. Multiple clients can connect at the same time. Multiple clients can connect at the same time. Okay, that means developers means we don't have only one developer. Okay, we can have many number of developers, right? So multiple clients can connect at the same time. Next, centralized database control. We have centralized database control. Okay, and secure access, and also efficient management and monitoring. Okay, these are the advantages of client server. Okay, now see, after connecting with SQL server, SQL server, what we do here, we have to communicate with the SQL server, right? We have to communicate with the SQL server through client application. We are connecting to SQL server. Now our intention is to work on database. Okay, now I want to give commands to SQL server. Right? So in order to communicate with SQL server, okay, SQL server, a language is needed. Okay, and that language is called okay, structured query language. Okay, SQL, structured query language. SQL. Okay, now SQL. Okay, SQL, structured query language. It's a standard query language. It's a standard query language. Okay. It is a language. It is a language used to communicate with the SQL server. That means user communicates with SQL server sending by sending commands called queries. We call them as queries. Okay. Next, a query is a command or instruction or a question given to SQL server to perform some operations over DB database. Okay. Next one is actually this SQL is introduced by IBM. Okay. SQL is introduced by IBM, and the initial name of this language was SQL. Okay, initial name is SQL. Okay, and later it is renamed to SQL. SQL, we call it as SQL. Earlier it was SQL. Okay, and SQL is common to all relational databases. All relational databases. It is common to all relational databases. Okay, that means examples SQL server we have. Okay, and Oracle we have, and MySQL we have, and PostgreSQL we have. Okay, in SQL server we use SQL. Okay, and Oracle also we use SQL, and MySQL also we use SQL, and PostgreSQL also we use here SQL to communicate with the databases. Okay, so it's a standard query language in relational database management system. Whichever relational database management you take, we can have SQL there. Okay, to communicate with the server we use SQL as a language. Okay, now how exactly user see the same thing here. Now user with client application SSMS, okay, he writes SQL query on the SQL server to work with the database, and also in the same way SQL plus Oracle, if you see here also you use SQL and MySQL workbench. Okay, now see you use SQL here also. It's common, it's a standard one. Okay, now it's a common to all relational databases. It's a standard query language, but it does not have full programming capabilities. Like loops. In programming language we use loops, right? And conditionals we use, and functions we use. Okay, so we don't have programming capabilities in SQL. That's why Microsoft, let me write here, SQL, since SQL doesn't have full programming capabilities, capabilities, okay, like loops, okay, conditionals, okay, functions, etc. Microsoft has designed and developed an extension to SQL, and that is called as TSQL. TSQL, we call it as transact SQL. It's a programming language in database, relational database. TSQL in Oracle, PLSQL. Okay. Now let us see. TSQL, it includes all standard SQL commands, and along with that, it also includes the first one is procedural programming, okay, and it has built-in functions it has, and it can handle error handling mechanism. It has error handling mechanism. That means error handling. Simply you can say error handling. That means we write here try catch blocks. Okay. And the fourth one is we can use local variables. We declare variables in programming languages, right? In the same way, local variables and control of flow. We have control of flow, and we have system functions, built-in functions we have. Okay. Next, stored procedures, triggers, okay, and user defined functions we can write, okay, in TSQL. Okay. So these are the features of TSQL, transact SQL. Okay. Now let's come back to SQL. Okay. In SQL, we have commands. Now let us see how to use them. First, let us see how many types of commands are there. Okay. SQL commands. Based on operations over database, SQL commands are categorized wait categorized into five types. Okay. Categorized into 5 types. Now let us see what are they. The first one is DDL. That means data definition language. Okay, data definition language. Okay, next one is DML, data manipulation language. Okay, language. Third one is DQL, data query language. Okay. And the fourth one is TCL, transactional or transaction control language. And the final one is DCL, data control language. Okay. So these are the 5 types of commands we have in SQL. Depends upon based on the operations we perform on database, these commands are categorized, and these are the types, different types we have. Okay, now let us see. Again, in each category, we have comments here. Data definition language. Data definition language. Let us see what comments we have here. Create, alter, drop, and truncate commands we have in data definition language. Okay, data definition language. When coming to data manipulation language, we have insert command, we have update, we have delete command, and merge. Merge in the sense combination of these three. Okay, merge commands we have. Okay, next is data query language. Here we have only one command, select command we have. Data query language. Under this we have only one command. The next one is transaction control language. Under this we have commit command we have, rollback another command, and also we have save transaction. It is also like rollback. Okay, little bit change it is there. I will explain when we come to discuss about transaction control language. Okay, rollback and save transaction. And the last one is grant. Under data control language we have grant, that means granting permission, and revoke, that means removing permission. Commands are there. Okay, and all these commands are not case sensitive. They are not case sensitive. Okay, now where do we write these queries? In Management Studio, SQL Server Management Studio. This is the SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, we have a new query window here. Okay, we have new query window here. You have to click on that. See, it is a little bit slow. Okay, here we write the queries. It's a new query window. Here we write the queries and we can work on any database. Left side you can see the databases. Okay, now let us see. See here, data definition language, data manipulation language. Let us see these differences. Okay, actually, let me take one table here, employee ID, okay, e-name, and also we have salary, okay, salary column we have. Okay, now here just see 100 I have, just example A, e-name is A, and salary is 5,000. Okay, data definition in the sense, just try to understand the difference between data definition language and data manipulation language. Okay, data definition in the sense, here this employee ID, e-name, salary, it is called data definition. Why? It is employee ID, it is describing this data. And e-name, employee name, it is describing this data, right? And the salary also, it is describing this data. Okay, that means it is a metadata, data about data. Okay, actual data is this one. This is actual data. Okay, actual data. This is actual data, but we are describing what is this 5,000. It is under salary column, right? This is salary. It is describing this value. That's why it is data definition. Okay, so here DDL data definition language acts on DDL commands acts on data definition okay, whereas DML commands acts on actual data. DML commands manipulation, we can manipulate this data, right? So that's a data manipulation language. Okay, now let's stop here. We can continue this tomorrow. Okay, with the installation part and remaining things we can continue tomorrow. Okay, and let me know if you have any doubts.
Sir, are we going to see any TSQL query or the command? Any example
Yes,
in our course?
I will teach you TSQL also.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Fine.
next, any doubts?
Yeah. So, sir, I will join this course like, I have already paid and but my Scrum call started at like 7:30. So I might be late for like some of the minutes, but I will join, on the daily basis. Yeah.
Okay,
For
okay,
your
that's okay, no problem. Actually, you will get access to the videos also. Okay,
right.
okay, fine. Okay. Any other
And
queries?
I hope, sir, we will continue this course, yeah. Yes, I already paid, yeah.
Okay, fine.
Thank
Okay, thank you. Sachin, Vijay, any doubts you have? Okay, if you don't have any doubts, we can close the session. Okay, fine. Okay, we can continue this tomorrow. Okay, good night.
Okay, sir. Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night.
Thanks.
Good night.